Yeah. But I actually was designing it in front of students.
Yeah, we did that.
I think that's why they're really good. Yeah, but we'll present like showing the exhibition
I just check whether they can see here.
Can everyone online hear and see everything? Can you just put it in the chat if you can't?
She's always checking. She's always checking. Oh, official.
Yes? Okay, all right, thank you. Sorry, Saf. Thanks. Thank you. I'll be back in 10.
Okay, so again, I'm Rita, I'm from Brazil. Brazil is a little big, yeah, so I come from Minas Gerais state, and from the capital, which is Belo Horizonte. It's a very tiny little town in the area. We have about 6 million people. That's how we work. But anyway, so there at the design school, we belong to a university just like yours. You know, we have different campuses, just that ours are spread all over the Minas Gerais state. It's about the size of Spain. Yeah? And our school is at the capital. We have around 2,000 students. And on the undergrads, we have graphic design, product design, fashion design, interior design, and we have what we call visual arts teaching for those who want to be teachers in design or in arts or whatever, in schools for children and everything. That's the 5 months. And then we have the master and the PhD. We have a master in design in general. We are now creating a master also in fashion design, but this is going to be a more technical one. And then we have the PhD, and I work mostly with the masters and the PhD students. But as an optional course, these students can design a design, and then I work mostly with the undergrads. And what I'm going to show you now is the work they did. First, I'm going to show you the work they did last year, because then we have already the results and what's going on, so it's more interesting. Because the ones who are working, like you guys, design violence against women and girls, it's an ongoing process because we haven't finished all the semester yet. Yeah, but they prepare the video for you. Actually, before I forget, everyone needs to take one piece of paper and because there are going to be 3 videos at the end of the presentation, and this work goes for 40% of their grade, and 30% is mid-grading, but 10% it's up to you. Yeah, I told them that if you like it, if the students like it, so they did a good job. If not, I can't help it. Please don't be. I try to be nice to them. Yeah, some of them really need something. But anyway, this is just going to be at the end. Okay, so let's start with last year. So last year, we are mostly working with design against crime for Brazilian public schools. What happens is that, well, public schools in Brazil, it's not like here. They don't have enough budget, you know, it's very complicated. They are using, you know, in the surrounding areas where violence is higher, you know, so it's really complicated. But what we're trying to do, check this out. Is it possible?
Yeah, just press the button next to the little dash.
Yeah, please. Great. No.
Sorry, that was my one.
Yeah, that's better, because otherwise you won't see the whole thing. Yeah. So what we try to do is that there are some schools who really, you know, just put more grades, like physical, you know, things, and it's not really helping. Yeah, so they try to see what could be done. So, okay.
No, it's not.
Try to put it on the slide. And you pick one thing. And then try clicking. Yeah. Okay.
Great. So that's the context. That's what I told you. Yeah, they have a poor reputation. The students that go there usually don't make the best universities, not because they're not good. It's just because they do not have enough background, and it's just complicated. It's violence. Families also violent. You know, some of them belong to families where one or both of the parents are in jail or have been in jail and things like that. So it's really complicated. So here for you to see, for example, there are lots of students that go to the school just because of that, because that's the only meal they have on the day. They go there to eat. And on the weekend, sometimes they just don't have anything at all. They are just living because it's really very poor. So that's why they put this picture here, because this is an important thing at the school. What are we going to have today? Yeah. It's not just because they like, no, it's because it's there. Oh, yeah, they really need it. And well, what was the project? The project was just those 40 students work with it, yeah, although we have a whole class. But this was a project that they really went out and they went to see the schools and they went to see what could have been done. So they are outside and so it's me, Professor Swellen, that's always on the group when we talk, and Professor Claudio also. And what they did is that, well, we had a little bit of funding so that they could go to the schools and try to do something and find out how we could help them. But while we were trying to do that, we were just starting that, something happened at our own university. Some guy got in and took a cell phone from one of the students and some other thing, and everybody was like that. Oh, how did the guy get in? But it's pretty easy, you know. This is not working. This is still not working. Yeah. We have this door here, but we have another door here on the back. That's where I usually come from, for example, when I come by car, because that's where the parking lot for the professors are. So the guy is there, the poor doorman, but he's kind of crazy. He can't, well, he just has a pair of eyes. He can't be looking everywhere. Yeah. And so I said, okay, so what can you do? Because there are these elevators here that mainly use this. But for example, my classroom and my lab, they're on the other side. So there are another pair of elevators on the other side. That's the ones I usually take because they're much closer to my office. Because if I go on this one, I have to cross the whole school up to my lab and then come back there. So, and the poor guys there. Right away, look. So nowadays they put a table here, and he's asking everybody to present their ID and things like that. You know, they have to present something from their school, but for example, sometimes I get in and they look at me, I'm old. I am a professor, but they don't know that. And I don't have an ID, like, so I'm always coming in and out, and sometimes they look at me like that, and I just might say hello. But if I was a crazy one, just say, I'm a pass also. I just happen to be a professor there, but they can't know that. It's not written here, yeah, that I am a professor there. Right? That's how it works. So they made a kind of analysis to try to help. But as usually in Brazil, there's always a problem of budget, so we couldn't do that much to help it. But it showed us that, well, we are not safe either. It's not on the public schools that we are trying to help. Maybe you should try to get help for yourself. So the first school we went in, it was a very good place to work. First, because they said they did not want anything, that they had solution for that, and their solution was that, you know, they put another door in front of the door, like this one's here with bars. You couldn't take pictures because they were not proud of it, so they just sketch it for you. And well, the problem is that the principal, he didn't want, he said that he was okay, he didn't need any help, that everything was fine. So we moved on to another school. And then this school was much more receptive, but it was the third one. There was a second one that didn't work either. And then he said, yeah, we have a problem, he could realize that, and we would love to have him help. And it's very complicated because, you know, They have students they go, when in Brazil, it's not like, I think here it's more or less like in America. The students go from class to class. There is the teachers that go from class to class. So from when they change, it's the teacher that comes from one room to the other room where the students are. And of course, they are teenagers. What happens when the teacher gets up? They get out of the hole too. And then the other teacher comes and put them in again. There is time and space for someone to come here and yeah, and that's what happens a lot. And there are a lot of gates, it's complicated. So they will see what they could do. So show you. Yeah, this is there are gates like this everywhere, you know, around the playground and everything, as you can see, but gates also in the hallways. And there's a lot of things that they have place for physical activities. There are two places that are far away, and that's where they do their exercises and their the physical educations, their PE classes. But the point is that this is kind of open. So when a student does something wrong and the teacher's not happy, just put him out. Okay, you get out, you can't be here in my class. They go outside. And then there is a teacher there trying to teach their students some sports or something. And they just get out and they play with it. It's always a mess. And when it rains, it's perfect because there is no place to go. Yeah. And then this class you have nothing to do because there isn't any space for when it's raining. And although it is very sunny, when it rains, isn't that? It's a storm. Yeah, because it's very hot. So everything goes up, and then when it gets up, it really gets out. It's showers and showers. So it's not very funny to be outside when it feels like that. So what they try to do, first of all, let's try to solve the first problem, like the little bottle there that I thought it was beautiful. And so one of the students, which was a product design student, so designed something like that they could put under their chairs where they could put their valuables. Yeah, so that even if it was not really locked and everything, it gets complicated for someone, you know, because there's always people to go and open it. So it's a kind of protection. So wherever they use it, they would put it on. And what they would try to do is that for people to be proud of it, they would make their own boxes and they could decorate it and do whatever they want. So it's mine. Yeah, someone thinks, oh, that's mine too. That's me. I designed that, so it's mine. That's my drawing over there. So that's why they could put everything that they want, and this would prevent, it would not completely close the problem, but it will help reduce it. Yeah, and this actually, that's why I'm showing you this presentation. This is actually happening. Yeah, they're just making it right now, and the students are making it, and they're starting with the senior students. So their classes, they'll make it and see how it works. But at least it's a solution they are trying to implement. And then they're going to make some interviews to see how it works. It's still not ready because they're still making it. But at least
Can I ask a question? Do they take the boxes with them when they go to the next lesson, or do they leave it on the
actually, in Brazil, they stay in the same class.
They stay in the same class. Okay.
Yeah. So they don't have to carry everything. It's just that the teacher turns around.
Come to them.
Yeah, not the students. Yeah, so they don't have to be carrying things. The other solution is that they try to create new spaces for the physical education class. But although the director loved it, he said, "I don't have budget for that." And if I ask the budget for that, they won't give me, because there was a problem with the walls that are falling, and he had to reinforce it and everything. And he said, if I get the money to do that, they won't give me another money. So this is postponed for who knows. Sometimes they'll get extra money, but this is not going to happen now. But the most interesting thing, in my opinion, that they did is that there was this graphic student, and he decided to see what he could do, like, you know, make people really conscious of what's there about ethics and what's happening. And so it's interesting because we would thought that they were worried about their cell phones or anything, but no, they are pretty much into violence against girls also and into racist because, well, that the Brazilian passport and the black market is very valuable, because I can look like her, I can look like Chesco, I can be black, because we have all kinds of people. It's just like Canada. So if you have a Brazilian passport, it doesn't matter how you look like, you could be Brazilian. So that's why it's better with the black market, because it suits everybody. So, but although we are like that, and we are all Brazilians, we are all considered ourselves Brazilians, there are some ghettos, some gangs, and we are racist against one or another. And sometimes it's just by the fact that you live in an area and you belong to another gang. So they decided to do something. So they produced the posters, and they were putting it all over the school. And it kind of called attention, because sometimes it's just something that you live at it every day, and you don't really realize what kind of harm it's making you bad. I don't know. It's just because you get used with it, so you live with it. And okay, it's not normal. You don't have to live with it. You can do something about it, and that's what they are trying to do. And what was best is that it made such a great success that they decided to put it on the walls. You see? And so after this workshop, so they made this graffiti intervention and also on the walls of the schools, so that everybody can see it, and and it makes them feel happy and proud about, well, at least we can shout it out. We can say to the world, okay, we are fearless. We can show you that we are not accepting these anymore. And I really think this was a very good thing that they managed to make. And if any resistance, I will be resistant. If it hurts my existence, I will be resistance. Yeah, Catalina can help. Yeah, and they said, well, it's trans, let's fight, trust, that are the words, perseverance, yeah, peace, love, the words that they want to put there, and that they think that it's really good. I can share the presentation with you guys. Actually, it's being recorded. Yeah, so that's fine. So, in conclusion, what we can see is that, okay, it was hard on the first two schools, but on the third school, where we had the support from the direction of the school, we could do something, and that things are working, and they're developing. Now, of course, it's not the solution for all problems, it's not, but it's giving you an idea and it's so easy. You just need a piece of paper and some crayons, and you have the start of something. Yeah, and that's what I think is most important, because very fancy solutions in Brazil, they wouldn't work because we don't have budget. So we have to find simple things that can be done, but that will make people think about it, and that's what they did. So I think that was great. So this was last year, yeah. Well, thank you very much. You have my email there as well also. So let's go to the second presentation, Colin. Yes. Which is the one that they are trying to do the same thing that you guys are doing here. So let's see.
So Rita, I can share with you some work that was done some time ago, maybe 10 years ago, in the Designs Council on Schools. If you're continuing to work, I can send you some resources.
Sure.
The problems are very different in the UK. So it was like theft of projectors, like we had a lot of theft, bullying was really a big issue. Actually, toilets were a big issue. So some schools now have, one toilet rather than a group of toilets, because that was the place where trouble was happening. So they'd have one toilet between each classroom rather than big groups of toilets. There's a whole range of different issues. It may be useful, it may not, but I can certainly find it and send it to you. If you work on it next year, let me know.
At least for them to have ideas. Yeah. I showed you that yes. Your presentation, and that's what they're doing in England. It doesn't mean that we have to do the same. No, and it doesn't mean that we will work here, but just to show you what they're doing. Because When we started, there, yes, and that should be okay. Yeah. So again, it's me and Suellen, and we have two assistants. This is a PhD student, Gabriela Gassi. Rita Engler is just my daughter, is just because she has a very good English, much better than mine, by the way. So I asked her to help the students when they are translating things and everything. So that's why she can. Can you try to take this out?
I think it might just go in a second because I was just checking it.
Just press the minimize button.
Which one?
Just the one sec.
What happens is that, okay, so we start here, design an environment, okay, we're trying to work with this guys from London, so maybe it would be interesting if we could do the same thing and also work with violence against women and girls. It wasn't very complicated because we just had one boy to grow, so I think even if you didn't want that, there are just girls, and actually at the science school, yeah. Lots and lots of girls, very few boys. So it was easier to go for this subject because, you know, everybody there has been in trouble one day or another, so that would be okay. So that was the first part. So what we did is that as everybody agreed that we are going to work under this subject, I said, oh, people are not going to answer you because I said we have to make it fast because it has to be done by the end of May because I have to go to London. And our semester started almost April, so they didn't have that much of time. So I said, what we're going to do is that we're going to make once a day, you know, like the Google thing that you do and everybody answers. But we are going to make one for everybody because the answers everybody can use. And then, according to the answers, everybody picks up whatever they want to work with and how they're going to deal with it. So that's what we did. And so we made this, and that's what I'm going to show you. So first,
Right, you just use the mouse and click on the screen.
Pode carregar no iPad?
No, here we go.
so first thing we want to know is that, okay, how do they identify themselves, the people who are answering? If they are cis women, trans women, men, whatever, non-binary, we wanted to know, to see if there were different kinds of problems happening in different kind of genders. But as you can see, most of the people who answer it would identify themselves as cis women. It was almost 87%. And then there was just one, because we have 101 and there was just one that was a trans woman, and other just one person also. So we can say that we could focus more on the group of cis women. It's not that the others were not important, it's just that they are so representative that we should go for it. Anyway, and we want to see how old they are to see if the age would influence the kind of problems that we could find out. And of course, the students were asking them to answer. So most of the people who answered, as you can see, it was from 16 to 25, and if you add the ones that are over 26, because they stayed a bit longer at the university, if you put them two together, they go for 75% of the answers that we had. And the others, I am the 56 or older, but I was just 5% of it. I answered it also because, I worked in the university for 16 years, so I think I've seen a lot. But that's what we wanted to check, if there were differences also with age. And then we asked them, okay, the kind of, with whom do you live? What's your housing arrangements? And most of them, as they are pretty young, as we could see, and in Brazil, this is very common. You don't leave your parents' house. You just leave your parents' house if they kick you out. They'll never do that because they are Brazilian parents. So people stay forever in their parents. Just like in Italy, in Portugal also, isn't it?
Becoming more like it in Britain too. It's all the statistics show that, after students leave university, they go back home, and accommodation is so expensive. It's very hard for them to, particularly in London, to leave the parents because, so it's a global trend.
Well, still most of them live with their parents, yeah, some of them live.
That's scary.
Scary. There is a phantom here, the phantom of the overhead.
It's interesting.
But
it's interesting with the breakdown. So, with violence against women, 15% sort of violence is aimed at other groups. So, like I know from Ruby's work with non-fatal strangulation, you have a high percentage of trans homosexuals who are also strangled, and less so lesbians. So it's almost like, even though there are gender differentials, you get some patterns repeat themselves in groups that are vulnerable or repressed. It's really, so violence tends to take place in those spaces.
Sorry, where was what were you presenting from on this presentation?
Canva. Where Mary and the
So maybe some, no?
It's this one here.
This one?
Should I go to
Yes.
It's this one.
But no, because this is the PDF, so this is not working. We are doing it directly. Otherwise, they won't show the thing.
I think it's on the next window.
I think it's that that website, but you have to click on the screen to exit full screen, and then it will load. Maybe.
Sorry, it's.
The one, the
So behind that.
You want to, oh, sorry, this one.
Behind that, yeah, that one, and then it should.
yeah, that one.
Okay, I don't use Canva.
My students just love it. I don't use it that much either. But to make it more beautiful, because I'm not a designer, so I always ask my students to help me and make it look beautiful. And they love it. Okay. And then we also asked them what kind of social media they use, because they know that nowadays this is very important. And you can say that Telegram actually is very little, just because of WhatsApp in Brazil. It's like everybody talks just by WhatsApp. Yeah, and Instagram also, and all the mostly you put photos on Instagram and WhatsApp. Yeah, as you could see that's where they really are and what they really spend lots of time every day. Yeah, and then we wanted to know what are they doing at the university, because as you're doing the research at the university, because what's going on there, and you can see that almost 90% that they answer for students. Yeah? So that's good, because then I thought it could be more, it could be easier in a certain way to find solutions, because if the students are answering, so they're the one who really do it. 6% of professors, well, one former student. I tried, because the girls that do the cleaning, they are third-party contractor, but I wanted them to answer also, because I thought maybe they're kind of been bored or something, because they're just cleaning ladies, and it doesn't make them less women overall than any of all of us. But I asked them, but I think just for answer, but anyway, at least we had the feedback from them also. And then this is something to see if it really bugs you, because when you have small children, sometimes it is an issue. Yeah, and in Brazil, it's still like the children belong to their mothers. The fathers, maybe they help pay, yeah, but they do not really take care of their children. Very seldom, there are exceptions. Yeah, but it's still a very macho country, so who takes care of the kids? No. Yeah, so we wanted to know that because of that. And as this class takes place in the afternoon, but it's not when the school is busiest. So it's much busier in the morning than in the afternoon. But we do teaching, and I think they asked their mates. So that's why we have, I think that's why we could see that the answers come more in the afternoon. Not that we have more problems in the afternoon. It's just that, you always, when you have things like that, hey, please, answer that, we don't do that. Can you listen? It's just a friend that answers. I think that's why we got that. I wouldn't pay attention to that. I think it's more circumstantial than anything. And this, for example, are the kind of comments that we get, because we had some questions that they could just write whatever they feel like writing. So we picked a few comments just for you to see what we're dealing with here. So, people sometimes they make comments like, this is so childish, or this is this is women with. So this is a thing that normally people say, and they don't really realize that they could be bugging anyone, or they could be bullying anyone. They just say it because it sounds like so. And okay, not everybody is okay with this kind of comments. It's not that you can do anything about it. And then another thing that we would see that's what was most surprising. That's where we got the highest level of answers that was from them. Is that, they wouldn't, 52.5% wouldn't put something on social media, and we know how important it is. Like, I had this for breakfast, I had this, they put everything, I sniffed. It's there on Instagram. But they would refrain themselves from posting things that sometimes are really important because they're afraid of what people would say and how they're going to be treated. Yeah, and another thing is that, well, the 50% there, okay, everybody's going to come after me if I say that. So I didn't say it. Yeah, I don't, this is good about getting old, isn't it, Lauren? I don't give a damn of what people think. Yeah, just say whatever I have to say. But I know that, well, I am much older than most of the people who answer that, and maybe that comes with age, that you care less about what people think about you and whatever. But for them, it's very important. Yeah, and they don't share anything personal either. Well, I wouldn't share anything personal on social media because I don't think it's the best place to share personal things. But these people, they don't share because they are afraid. Yeah, and some of them, especially if they are not cis, I can see that coming. Yeah, because they're afraid of maybe not getting a job or not getting a position, whatever they want, because of their sexual orientation. And this is still happens, and we know it. Yeah, although the speech is clear, no, but we know that in real life things are really different. Yeah. So this one I can understand what would that be. And then, for example, the comments that come like that in the presentation. This is something that we hear a lot. Also here? Yeah, we're not that different after all. Yeah, mansplaining. Come on, what's mansplaining? What's womansplaining? What's the difference? Yeah, we're all here. We have to much. That's the things that bugs people. And well, that's people when they feel that they are really that people are cutting their freedom. Yeah, sometimes like parents, sometimes like do something family, and when they say family matters, it can be religion, it can be anything, because in Brazil, especially, we're mostly a Christian country, but especially the Catholic, and they are the majority, they're usually cooler, I'd say, because it's probably minorities. Those that goes to a small Christian church, they are pretty much religious. So there are things that they wouldn't go because the church wouldn't accept it. Yeah, so it really refrains them from that, and that's how we're here. I know there are activities that they wouldn't do also because of the partner that you don't know it. Yeah, oh my boyfriend doesn't want you to come. I hear that a lot. Yeah, and I still think it's high, although it's 15%, but I still think it's, yeah. Because there are things that are for the academic life. Come on, there is no harm in that, but they wouldn't be allowed to go. And yeah, you know, I am so beautiful, am I not? I don't care. Yeah, well, I like to eat. So. Yeah, it's complicated to get thin and still eat. And I like to cook also. So. But you know, when you are 20, that's a problem. When people look at you and like check you out, and you have not the perfect body that people accept like a perfect body. Yeah. And these butts, this is still is something that's kind of bullying you. You don't have to say anything. You just have to come in. And that's it. That would be enough. Yeah.
Can I just check with the group? So the male gaze, which is obviously dominated our culture. Do you experience that here? So, and how impressive? How impressive is it? Is it? Would it stop you? Like, you know, like I think it has changed. You know, I don't think this is bad, but I'm not young anymore. But I think that it was. You know, I remember going for an interview and being sexually assaulted. That's not a joke. I mean, there was just like people did things they just wouldn't dream of doing now. It's minor sexual assault, but it was still a sexual assault. You know, do you feel that, that there is a regime still in place where you're checked out all the
I
time?
think it's at the same everywhere, like in Turkey especially, it's just like so. But I mean, you're going to like continue living at some point. But I think here as well, it's not less. But what I can say is like at least with the new generation, maybe
It's spoken about, so you know that
Yes.
it's wrong, so it's not going to impact like the way you walk down the street, you know, that happens.
But it can still be intimidating.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that was just curious.
Yeah, because there it is, you know, they don't feel comfortable with it. Yeah, it's something about that. And okay. Also, so one of the situations that really made you feel, and so yeah, you see, 44% of people were uncomfortable when receiving a comment on the way they look. And what's interesting that it doesn't have to be a bad thing. They could say, "Oh, you look beautiful today. Yeah, I like your hair." The way it is. And even that, because why they're paying attention to my hair? They're not paying to my hair today. So why is that? Yeah. And so it doesn't have necessarily to be for a depreciating thing or a bad thing. It's just that people just pay too much attention to your appearance and they shouldn't. Yeah. And another thing is that this is so much visible. You're talking as someone cuts you and start talking. And of course, especially when it comes, that's what I got, and it's really bothered me, is that sometimes professors, male professors, who just interrupt rules when they talk, and that's the big issue. Yeah. And they're right, because why is that? They could see that they interrupt, well, they feel, maybe it's because this hurts them, but they feel that they do it more to girls and women than they do to men. When the boys are talking, they just let them talk. Because, okay, let's move on, have time to finish the class, or, you know, something like that. And anyway, so that's what offensive names, okay, I think nobody likes to be called offensive names, but anyway. And I didn't like it when they made us realize, well, this is more gossip among students, but it is still with bots, yeah. It's not very common. And then you hear about it, and sometimes it's very funny because usually this kind of thing, you don't know, yeah. People make it up for you, yeah, and they take care of your life. And I think, oh, it's very good. So tell me what's happening in my life, yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, you know it better than me, yeah. So okay, what's going on? And especially when it regards to the sexuality. Because as there are a lot of students who are very young, maybe, you know, they are still having issues with themselves about their own sexuality. They haven't exactly decided yet, or they don't feel comfortable to come out or something like that. So it's complicated for them. And, so what are that? Yeah, this is really, the last one there. The one a girl say something that it's not nice, or, you just fed up and say, you had enough. And then you do some content and I say, oh, that might be PNS. Because we can't be fed up. We can say, okay, I had enough. Yeah? No. Yeah. You're not allowed to. Yeah, so it's just because, in my case now, it's probably menopause that they say, I don't care. And I said, yeah, thanks God. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'm totally okay with my age. And, but, of course, when you are a woman, your opinion values less than when you are a man. And of course,
I think this would correlate really, like, very much with UK schools. Like, they argue that one girl gets raped a week in Britain in a school. That's quite a well-known account. And so all these things, we have documented similarly.
Yeah. But we would like to know what was really happening. Yeah. And, of course, there's always someone, when you're young and we're a woman, well, I've been there, yeah, now I'm old enough, but I've been there. I was the youngest at my master and at my doctorate program, and sometimes I had students that were much older than me, and they wouldn't pay attention to you because of your age and because of your sex. Come on. Yeah, that doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion or I have something to say. And it's like they say, some Brazilian people, we are very touchy people. Yeah, we talk to one another and you put your hand like that. And some people just don't feel comfortable with that. But that's a little bit complicated. That's what they say. Even if the intentions are good, still doesn't mean that it is all right to do it. That's something, for example, when I'm in England, I'm always like this because I'm so used to it. Because that's the way we are. I know that you are not, so I try to refrain myself, but yeah, this could happen. And they felt certain, almost 30%. Yeah. Actually, it's high, but it's still for us. I thought it was good. Just 6.8% were victims of domestic violence, because in Brazil it can be higher than that. It's still high, but for us it's kind of a good number. It's not a bad number. And sexual harassment from a colleague, Professor Oliver, the 11%. But this is what really bugs me. And just 13.6% would know how to report when something happens. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to, what they can do about it. Yeah, and you see, almost 65% would really say, "I don't know what to do if something happens to me," and almost 30% would feel uncomfortable. Even if they know, they would feel uncomfortable of reporting it. Because maybe, they would say, oh, it's my shame, it's my fault. Maybe this is a little bit low, so I shouldn't use a t-shirt like that. I would have something higher so that nobody would, things like that, that they would feel shame. Although 30% would not say they wouldn't, but still, I think it's very hard that 30% would feel comfortable of complaining of something that's their right. Anyway, what you can say, okay? Only 10 of 140 students that answered our research who know how to report. It's 10%. 90% of the students, they don't know what to do if something happens to them. And that's what, okay, hello, how come, And even the professors, the professors don't know either. Just 4 out of 7, almost half of them don't know what to do. And it's kind of shocking, because we should think that at least the professors will know where to go and what to do, but no, apparently they don't. Okay, now we're going to start. Now you just It's just the first video that you have to break. Yeah. So we're going to see this one. The first videos, we have everything written there because their accent is not that good. So they would rather do that just to make sure you understand. And then the third one, I thought the girl would speak in English correctly, so you don't need to do reading. But you feel like as Brazilians, yeah? Because most of the Brazilians, I don't read that anymore, but most of us, we have to read that all the time because there isn't that much of movies in Portuguese, for example. So whenever you go to the movies, you already use it too. Okay, so let's go.
In our Design for Crime Prevention course, we learned that each area of social action can promote ways and solutions to prevent crime. After collecting information with the survey, we reached more than 100 responses, and we noticed that our colleagues feel invisible with the lack of information and without being able to report in the various situations of violence, whether they be harassment, verbal aggression, persecution, or bullying, increasing the victim's insecurity when expressing their conditions. So we decided to look for a solution, and we found the 9. The 9 is the Student Support Nucleus, a winged body that refers students to health, psychological, pedagogical, and or legal support when necessary. We saw that this nucleus was not known by the majority of students, and therefore our project is focused on its dissemination so that it can be served as support for victims of violence at the university. 9. Management offered support for our solution as they recognize the lack of demand for students and therefore would be beneficial for all. Thinking about a type of publish that was clear and intuitive, our team chose to create posters with QR code. The image will call the victim's attention to scan the code, and that way they will be forwarded to a page with information about the 9. Then the victim could seek the help they need and would receive full assistance from the support center through consultation and conversation with an appropriate professional. The conversations would take place privately so that the victims would feel comfortable enough to voice their complaints and allegations without fear of new threats. Finally, such actions would result in reduce or eliminate situations of violence that occurs with women within our university being denounced collectively and effectively.
Okay. So this is the first one. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you the second one, but you must grade. So, okay. It's not moving. Yeah, I want to go. It's the next one. Yeah. Please. Sorry for that.
That's okay.
No, this is the one I just saw. I just move on.
So Rita, so what we just saw was a film about the design brief. But they created a design brief, but we didn't see the posters they created?
It's because they are still creating.
Okay, all right, so we
When does it
marked
finish?
them on the design brief because that's what they created.
Yeah, well, what they were assigned is to present what solutions they're going to make.
Okay.
But now we are really putting this into action because they didn't have time for that. Because they, by the time we had the results of the thing and they decided to do it,
It's fine,
because half of them,
Just trying to figure out
yeah,
how to do it.
they had about 7 weeks
Yeah.
to put this together. So that's how far they got.
That's
And now they're going to really implement it.
Are we marking out 10?
Yes,
Oh,
0 to 10.
Okay.
Okay?
And when does the project finish? The one with the
It's going to be the end of July. When we're going to start our holidays, so we still have, actually they'll have the same time they had before, not implemented. And there are groups, for example, this group that they're going to see now, that they're just, they will have everything fixed because those that they was help from exterior, they are just doing, they will do the meetings and everything in September. Because that's when we will restart and everything. And they asked me if it was okay. I said, yeah, because people have agendas also. Bring in some people from outside. It's just too complicated. But this is their ideas they have, and they will implement it. Yeah, not ready yet.
Good morning, everyone. I am Elaine and I'm here to present our crime prevention design project for the UENG of School of Design in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Also, women make up the majority of the students at the School of Design. They are the ones facing the greatest violence which directly impacts their personal and academic development, and can ever hinder the completion of their studies. That's why it's urgent for the university to 50 inducts and work alongside the students to achieve gender equality, contributing to greater security in their education lives. Insecurity and fear of exposure, we are the major issues identified in the research we conduct. Our goal is to take actions that exclude women on home to handle cases of violence. We will work on 2 fronts: harm reduction and awareness. Awareness will provide women with tools to deal with different types of violence. Furthermore, it will serve as means to prevent possible aggressors with the consequence of their actions. Our aim is to contribute to a future where the actions are no longer necessary. Unfortunately, at the present moment, they still are. Fear is a constant component in the lives of women at the School of Design. Therefore, our project consists of lectures on women's rights and self-defense workshop, which will be over a span of 2 days during the break between class, allowing students to participate and become more familiar with this research. We will have the assistance of the Professor Viviane Ramos from the Civil Police of Minas Gerais, who will conduct a workshop of personal defense. Additionally, we will hold talks by Dr. Isabela Melo Pedesoli de Oliveira, a lawyer and president of the Commission for Combating Violence Against Women of the OAB-MG, and Maíra Marinque de Castro Garcia, a lawyer and previous vice president of the OAB-MG Women's Commission. They will speak on topics such as freedom of expression online, violence, and support for women. Thank you for your attention, and you are counting on all of you to participate.
Okay, so these ones, they decided to do it in September when they're coming back, because there is a week of reception to students, and that's when they're going to do it. I didn't pay attention to what we did. Sorry. So I can't do that again. And this is the third group. And last one. And this one, you don't have to read. I hope you can understand. But I think her English was good enough.
Have you ever felt alone? Have you ever been in class and even though you had something to say, you were too afraid to say? feeling afraid of doing something just because of the judgment of others.
Even in spaces where they should feel safe, like in our universities, the fear is one of the feelings that is constant in women's lives. According to Keith Engler, a social scientist, the perception is always real, even if later it turns out to be an illusion. So even if the university guarantees some types of protection, it became clear through a survey that 80.58% of the women there have felt afraid, belittled, invalidated, or silenced, where 55.3% of women stopped posting on social media because of the fear of judgment. 52.4% stopped themselves from saying something because of the fear of reprisal. 42.7% felt belittled. 38.8% have been through some situation where they were interrupted or silenced by a professor or colleague. And 34.95% had an opinion or behavior ridiculed and attributed to hormonal issues. Our problem question for this project was, how can we make women feel confident to get through social pressures and, through that, feel less vulnerable? We took into account the concept of eyes on the street from Jane Jacobs and Jane Gale, where they state that the best way of keeping the streets safe is by raising the urban looks, meaning people looking at people. Nonetheless, with the security issue we want to work with, it isn't just about physical security. Our proposal is to encourage a sense of community between the students, where the looks will not be simply seen, but a form of support for them to feel safe expressing their opinions, defending their ideals, and walking comfortably in the university, living. As a proposal, we intend to create the group Women of the School of Design, which will aim to create effective relationships that promote a sense of community where women can feel welcome to talk about their problems and ask for help. The big topics of self-esteem, creating a conversation network where women can share their feelings and experience with the other members. For this, we intend to create a semi-annual calendar with fortnightly events that promote connections, debates, and awareness. The events will be designed to have 3 sections. The first, a playful part that will attract women and make the environment more relaxed. Then a conversation with an expert who discusses the topic, and by the end, a moment for a snack that stimulates strengthening the connection between women. For example, a workshop of self-makeup where afterwards the students have a conversation where they discuss how the concept of beauty is built, ending with a coffee break or going out to a bar. For now, our proposal ends here, but we hope that it grows and prospers, becoming articles, research, contests, and more. And in addition to make them feel safe, it will open spaces for the students, turning to a network who inspire other universities to replicate the group, strengthening and valuing women.
Okay, and that's the third one.
Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you very much.
In feeding back, do you want to have, should we just give you the numbers that they have, or do you want to talk about it?
It's how we feel comfortable, but I can take the
It's quite hard to judge it, isn't it? Without,
yeah, but
And
it's
also
just
the feedback would be, if they've written something, the qualitative
Right.
feedback would be most valuable.
Yeah, it's quite hard. Like I sort of thought the first one, which is about promoting, how to get help.
Mhm.
I mean, or how can that be wrong? So I couldn't judge it until I saw the posters. It's a brief that seemed to me to be really straightforward. Whereas the harm reduction, self-defense classes like violence breeds violence. So I was more nervous about that one. And I know they were going to sort of try to raise awareness, but people don't turn up for lectures, do they? Particularly, can you imagine that men going to lectures about what's wrong with you? So and the final one, I think that sort of like consciousness raising is always been very successful is how it's integrated, isn't it? And how symbolic violence is talked about. So it struck me it's quite hard to judge all of them, but they all seem to have useful focal. So it's up to the student saying you vote, because evidently your mark will affect 10% of their grade. Yay, go for it. That's great.
My comment, yeah, just very briefly. I think in a way the second one with the lectures, I guess, yeah, I agree with you. Possibly having also some young people or someone with lived experience would help for them to relate better to them, rather than having only these old doctors and professionals who maybe, yeah, possibly they will not attend the lectures because they feel disconnected. But if it was another young person who will live the experience of violence, etc., possibly they will empathize more. And then I was wondering, maybe also the last one, it's a series of events. Well, the first part, they say something playful, but I couldn't quite visualize yet what the playfulness was. And I was wondering, maybe because they are still working on it, I would encourage them to do something more tangible as well, like using arts and design to make it something. Because it's all very heavy topics and but if it's all about listening, but I think, I don't know, they could use playfulness in a more tangible way.
They're thinking of the aspect of, as I mentioned, they would make something for makeup, because this would attract women, self-makeup, and then, then discuss what's beauty, what's important, what's not, and I can help you with this, I can help you with that, and then try to create, and that's how they think about making it, yeah, and well, as we are also a fashion school, and so they're trying to make things that they can make through the school and just put the girls together and one help another. That was their idea. The first group idea is just that because, yeah, there is this group of people denying now it's supposed to assist students, so they shouldn't even know where it is. They never go there. Yeah, especially because it used to be on our old school, we had an office with them there, and now they just decided they'll put them where the administration is, which is pretty far. And so nobody ever goes there because it's out of the
city. I think what Francesco is saying is that the idea is great, but it's actually it's how you do it and how it works. I've seen in prison and like people engage with, like women engage with masks, engage with masquerade, a whole range of ways of trying to talk about it. But it's whether it's eating, whether it works. Because people get very bored. They won't turn up if they feel they're being lectured at. And so I like the idea of it being fun, but you have to see it to know if it's fun, don't you? So you've got the job of you always say they're good grades, but or not, and that you've got the job of marking the outcomes.
And I think also, as Lorraine said before, if it's framed in a more positive way and it's not only about talking about violence but rather safety, possibly people will engage more because possibly they will not go out there to listen to something.
I saw a really interesting Brazilian project, which is about getting the kids to talk about peace, not violence. And I thought that was wonderful. It's not something I would know how to do in a way of facilitating it. But I think they came up with some really useful engagements because it's about hope. It's sort of like it's about trying to be in the future and making a new future. And that seemed to me to be a really interesting strategy. But, so many projects, so little time.
And I think also that's coming, maybe considering the Brazilian culture, there is so much spirituality, there may be some indigenous communities, I don't know, it's just a thought. Is there something they can really draw on from their, like some indigenous communities or some spiritualism or something that will make this project very unique and much more positive and culturally rooted? Rather than this very much notion of bringing in the experts parachuted into the community. Possibly, I'm sure, having lived there, there was something very good. I don't know, I haven't been in a village with indigenous, but I'm sure they would have some mechanisms to protect the community. And actually, one team was talking about the sense of community. So possibly there is going back to the past or some very local community. They may be very cohesive and they may have their own mechanisms of protecting. Yeah, possibly, I don't know, it's just to do some research on that. Possibly there will be something that can give some inspiration.
Did I get them to talk about the difference between physical violence and symbolic violence? So a lot of young men, they sort of know that, but it's harder it's focused, that's not discussed often in schools with young men, it's discussed with women. So it's sort of like, it might be a helpful Bourdieu, isn't it? Pierre Bourdieu, sorry, I'll speak. Pierre Bourdieu talks very much about symbolic violence. You know, like what it is that makes it uncomfortable, what it is, what are these unspoken things that influence it. Anyway, thank you so much. I would like the students.
Yeah.
It's good to see your work, but how would it be better to do this? Do you think we should just take Rita upstairs for the show and then maybe, would you have time to have a look at the student work? And then there's food at 1, and I've got these things arriving, and I've got posh sandwiches for you and some nice drinks, but maybe we should show you what they've been doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
You have anything to present?
Not in the show, we can go to the second floor and we
Okay, great. Yeah. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so Jeffrey came.
You sending those to me?
I didn't write, do I? Okay, I will write something. Yes. But
Okay, let's.
I can write a comment, I can write numbers. And,
Yes, please. Oh.
What did they like the most? What were there any surprises? Anything that they were surprised about this trip, or you know what I mean?
Onde é que nós somos? Sim, eu vou
Maybe you know.
Você da onde você é?
Possibly we're finished now. I'll come back.
But it's like very complicated.
Yeah. Which account is it? Lorraine?
Like, no, like her videos.
Yeah.
Só a tua página.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Porque é sua informação, não? É melhor desligar.
Desliga aí que eles não sabem como.
Sim.
Você ainda lembra do português?
Como?
Ainda lembra?